What the narcissist did before you knew what happened. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So what the narcissist did before you knew what they had done to you, or before what you knew what happened, they did an awful lot of things. Remember, the narcissist knew who they were before you knew who they were. And they also knew who you were before you knew who you were. The narcissist had an insurmountable advantage over you from the minute they met you until virtually the minute you figured out narcissism. But what they did when you didn't know what was going on, this is in reference to the very beginning of the relationship up to and including possibly this very moment. You see, the narcissist was living multiple lives. They had one life with you. They had other lives on probably or possibly dating apps. They had different lives when they were on business trips, wink, wink. They had other lives when they weren't with you, when you thought that you knew where they were, but you will never know where they were when you weren't with them, because whatever the narcissist told you, most likely it wasn't the truth. Now that's a whole lot of wisdom in a minute, 8 seconds, but the whole point to start off the video is to let you know that the narcissist was hiding things from you from the very moment you met them until you figured out what narcissism was. And the things are not exclusive to this list, which I will share with you right now. A, who they are. B, probably money. C, their past relationships. D, that they are a narcissist. E, that they broke up so many other relationships in the past. F, for failure, that they are a failure and that now they know it. And I could go all the way through the 26 letters of the alphabet, but I'll stop there at F because that's what the narcissist is. Now, this isn't a video to sling mud and to throw dispersions at the narcissist. It's to call out the truth. This is what the narcissist doesn't want. They don't want the truth to ever get out. And what they were hiding from you when you were in the relationship was so many things. Think about how committed you were when you were with them. Think about all the things you did for them. Possibly got married, possibly had children with them, raised children. You were parenting the children properly. You were probably holding a 9-to-5 job. You probably were super polite with their in-laws, those that would talk to you. You were putting on your game face when you would attend barbecues or holidays or events, or you would over-celebrate the narcissist's birthday despite the fact that they never celebrated or lifted a finger for your birthday. You see, you were doing enough for about 4, 5, 10, 30 people, but you were being credited for doing absolutely zero. Truth be told, the narcissist had the smear campaign well underway long before you knew what it was and long before you knew what narcissism was. You see, the narcissist swept into Dodge. They stole everything out from underneath you, right underneath your nose. And they abused you, manipulated you, tricked you, trapped you, blamed you. And then they slithered off into the darkness looking for or inserting a new source of supply. Wash, rinse, repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat, whatever that expression is. But what they did is they didn't want you to ever figure it out. And if you were getting close to figuring out who they were, meaning a raging narcissist when you're in the relationship, although you probably didn't come up with that word, you probably said, why are we doing it this again? I can't believe you're screaming at me before we're getting ready to go to church on a Sunday morning at 12 o'clock. Like, why are you doing this? You always do this. What's going on? There's an example for you. And yes, I could come up with probably millions, probably hundreds of millions of examples for you as to why the narcissist knew what they were doing and why they were trying to take away from you. But there's an illustration for you. And when the narcissist was punishing you, peppering you, if you will, and using you as the indentured servant and the walking apology and on, you were committed in the relationship and you kept on trying to the best of your ability, and you did a remarkable job, I can assure you, of putting out the fires that the narcissist was starting intentionally. And you were turning a blind eye. You were not trusting your instincts. You were not trusting your intuition. And you were being used as a piñata, if you will. You were being used as a appliance, if you will. You were not being treated properly. You were being disrespected. The narcissist, I can assure you, was not wearing their wedding ring when they weren't with you. Maybe even when they were with you, they would claim, oh, I lost it. And then you would be scratching your head, scrambling. It would blow up your whole day, week, month, maybe year. And you'd be looking for the ring everywhere. And where would the narcissist have the ring? Probably in their pocket. Or maybe in the glove box of their car. Or maybe they left it at the new supplies house. I can't tell you what they did with it. What I can tell you is they were burning you out and they were testing you. The narcissist was winding you up like in the old days, a rock'em sock'em robot, for those of you who know the 1970s. And they were just letting you go for it. I'm not saying punch people. I'm saying burn yourself out until your battery was depleted. And this is what they do with everybody. And this is what they didn't want you to know. You see, they were isolating you, and they were trapping you and tricking you, and they were blaming you, and they were burning you out, and they were triangulating you. They were definitely giving you silent treatment. I'm sure financially abusing you, perhaps counter-parenting, not co-parenting. And they were taking you for granted. The whole time they were doing that, you kept on working for them, and you kept on thinking that something will give, something will change, and that tomorrow will be a better day. Or maybe when I get out of work today at 5, they'll be in a good mood and I can have a couple hours of peace. Well, did those days or moments ever arrive? Yeah, they arrived sporadically, and they were gone in the blink of an eye. Why? Because they were the mask the narcissist was wearing. The narcissist was trying to keep you trapped in that relationship. And most likely, if the narcissist was in a good mood and you had done nothing to have them become in a good mood, in other words, you would be at, let's say it's a weekend and you'd be home, and the narcissist would roll in at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning after being out all night, claim they had a flat tire, but they probably were with a supply source doing God knows what, but they'd be in a great mood, and you'd be like, well, what's going on? Like, why are you in such a good mood? I don't get it. Like, you didn't call and you didn't text me, you didn't do anything. And then you'd be like, wait, well, they're here. Everything's, I guess it's okay. And they're in one piece, and they're not having any medical concerns. So I think we could have a good weekend. And what did you do? You did what they wanted you to do. You brushed it underneath the carpet. You tried to talk to them, and they didn't want to talk about it. They claimed they had to grab a shower. You know what that was for. And then they carried on about the day. Well, what would happen? You would be thinking, okay, well, at least they're here and they're in a good mood, or blah, blah, blah. Eventually, that got tiresome, not only for you, but for the narcissist, because you weren't a challenge for them any longer. You weren't putting up a fight. You weren't giving them the emotional regularity that they can't provide for themselves. You weren't doing what they wanted you to do. So back then, at this period of the relationship when you were in it, if they said jump, you weren't saying how high. You were basically going with what they were doing, and you weren't putting up a fight. When that happened, because that did happen with you, I don't know exactly when, where, or how, but it did happen. When that happened, they were looking at you saying, wait, I can't get what I need from this person. Their spark is gone. They don't have much energy. They're not looking at me the same way. They're not listening to my words. They're not doing my laundry, or they're not waiting at the door for me, or texting me and wondering. They're not doing all those things, so something's different. Well, when something's different, that's when the narcissist knows it's time to get out of Dodge and insert a new supply source. And the get out of Dodge reference is an old Western expression, if you know old Western movies. But this is why the narcissist does what they do. And what they were doing before you even knew anything is they were A, planning your demise. Yes. B, trying to figure out how to hide money, most likely. C, trying to figure out which angles to use with other people's leverage on the smear campaign, which means maybe the narcissist was telling everybody that you were lazy. Maybe they were telling everybody that you were sloppy. Maybe they were telling everybody that you spent too much money, or you didn't spend enough money. Or maybe they were telling everybody you weren't clean. I don't know what they were telling you, what the narcissist was telling people, but whatever they were telling those people were believing that it was the gospel, it was the truth, and that you really were who the narcissist was telling them that you were, but you weren't. That's how the narcissist enlists armies of enablers, flying monkeys, and people that are subservient to them. And any of those people are exchangeable or dispensable, or disposable, I should say, at any moment if they don't toe the company line that the narcissist is making them toe. But then think about what you were doing. You were in a vortex. You were in the devaluation stage, maybe even the trauma bond. You definitely were in the narcissistic relationship if you've deduced that and put all the clues together. And what you were doing is you were trying to figure out what had happened and why your health was taking a hit, why your money was going to zero, why you were in credit card debt up to your eyeballs, why no one was talking to you, why your opinion didn't matter, why no one listened to you, why you were being ignored or disrespected, or why the narcissist was laughing it up with virtually anybody else, but they were giving you the silent treatment, or they were not treating you properly. You see, again, you were being isolated, you were being devalued, and you were being taken for granted, which is what I call built-in supply. When you were built-in supply, you didn't know this because you weren't taught it in school, and you didn't realize that it was going to end eventually, because each and every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. Yours was no different. The narcissist knew this. You didn't. Advantage narcissist at the time. And then let's fast forward. Say the relationship ended. Let's say you were discarded. Well, when that happened, I can assure you the narcissist plotted that out. They planned it out. Maybe not to the exact second, but they planned it out to the exact period of time, which means this. They may have known that once, let's say you had kids, maybe once the kids got to be college age, they knew that that would be the time they would discard you. Maybe it was once you retired and you had a big pension coming in. Maybe it's when you could cash in your 401k. Maybe it's when one of your parents passed away and they left you a boatload of money. Maybe it's when you were waiting for a windfall of something, or a promotion or a pay raise. I can't tell you, but they were waiting for something. And when that happened, that's when they would insert the discard. And that's when they would turn your life not only upside down, but inside out. And they would do their best to make sure you didn't live to tell tales about it. Now, truth of the matter with you is, you're here. You're understanding things, you're learning, you're becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered, and you're catching up, if you haven't caught up already, to what the narcissist already knew. What they knew is that they had a huge advantage over you. What they knew is you were either in love with them, or you loved them, or you cared about them deeply. What they knew is you would keep on giving them opportunities, essentially turning a blind eye and ignoring the red flags. What they knew is that you would do the right thing always, no matter what. Please play that part of the video multiple times. This is a huge part that people really should get in their mind. One of the key things that the narcissist does when they find an empath, a real true blue empath like you, is they know that that person is committed. They know that person won't take shortcuts. They know that person will do the right thing. They know that person has morals, has values, has integrity, and is committed. All the things that the narcissist doesn't possess. So what will the narcissist do with that person? And it was me, and it probably was you, is they will make sure that they use that person up as much as they possibly can as a person to hide them from society or to have them blend in with society, but also to do things for them. Remember, the narcissist takes shortcuts. The narcissist cheats, they lie, they steal, they blame. They're hollow, they're shallow, they're callous, they're bullies, and they're cowards. They are the polar opposite of you. And so when they found you, in their tiny little pea brain, I'm referring to the narcissist, when they first saw you, they were thinking, jackpot, got one. This is something I've only heard about in books. It's something I've heard about from the underworld, that these true empaths really do exist. And now I caught one. What am I gonna do? I think I'll feast on this one for a long period of time, because these empaths don't come around every 5, 10, 20 years. When I found one, or when I finally found one, I'm gonna make sure I isolate this thing and feast off of it privately, so no other narcissist can get their grubby little fangs sunken into it, and that so no one else will give the person, the target, which was you and me, any stable, healthy communication, so they won't be able to figure it out. I'm acting like the narcissist, and I'm not. I'll isolate the person, I'll feed off them, I'll watch them burn up, and I'll watch them burn up their health, their time, their money, their energy, and everything. And I will do a great job with this because I found an empath. That's what the narcissist was thinking. Now, truth of the matter is, right now, fast forward to today, April 6, 2026. Can the narcissist find an empath? Sure, they can. Will it be as easy as it was when the narcissist found you? No, it won't. And on top of that, if the raging narcissist, not only the one you're considering, but any of these parasitical people that are walking the planet, or dark entities, I should say, that are walking the planet, they find an empath. These days, the empaths are becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered, and they're putting up boundaries much quicker than they did in the past. And that's what you should be doing, because remember, you were in the cycle. You are out. You're healing, or you've healed, and you need to have your boundaries, and you need to maintain no contact. And once you understood what that narcissist had done to you, then you realized, and it was not fun, but then again, being in the narcissistic relationship is anything but fun, and healing is anything but fun, but these are things that you were in and you had to do, or you were in and you are doing. When you realize those things, then you realize that, yeah, you're stronger than you know, and the narcissist knew what they were doing to you, but you need to go no contact and block the narcissist. And when you block the narcissist, things get better. But catching up is a huge thing post-relationship, because picture, I created this video in 2021, the video called, oh, there's geese. Hear them? Yeah. The tortoise and the hare. I created this video in 2021. It's an Aesop's fable. What is the tortoise and the hare? The tortoise is a turtle, the hare is a rabbit. They ran a famous race, And the rabbit, of course, can run super fast. That's why it's a rabbit. The turtle goes slower than molasses. And the turtle had no chance to win the race. But in that Aesop's fable, the tortoise and the hare, the tortoise had an insurmountable lead, and they were just going to cross the finish line, and they decided to be cocky, arrogant, entitled, and very, very narcissistic rabbit. They took a nap at the side of the road to try and taunt and tease the turtle. And what happened when the hare, or the rabbit, took a nap at the side of the road before crossing the finish line? The tortoise, kept plugging along. Boom, 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 boom. And that insurmountable lead that the tortoise had, or that the hare had, it was slowly being caught up by the tortoise. And eventually, what happened? Well, the tortoise crossed the finish line first and won. Ding, ding, ding. That's you. Now, are you a tortoise? I don't know. Maybe you have a little tortoise in you. But what I'm sharing with you is you beat the narcissist. The narcissist had everything and more in you. They never thought you would heal. They never thought you would figure it out. They thought that they were going to win, just like the rabbit did. But the rabbit lost in Aesop's fable. In real life, the narcissist loses again and again and again. And you may say, well, why are you saying those things, or why are you getting graphic? I'm just letting you know that the narcissist had the best thing they will ever have in you. And they blew it. They lost it. And they never thought that you would exist. They didn't think you would put two and two together. They never thought you would catch up. They never thought you would figure out what narcissism was. And the narcissist did such a masterful job at manipulating you and everybody around you that all they were thinking to themselves is, I'll just light one quick match, throw it in that kindling wood, and boom, that person isn't going to be around any longer. Figuratively, literally, however you want to take it. I'm not talking about the match. I'm talking about them trying to blow up your life. But what happened? You figured it out, and you're here. And because you're here, you're not only healed or healing, but you have the ability to help those loved and trusted ones around you. And you must understand something. When you go no contact, you are doing your part on this planet called Earth. When you do your part, as I've done my part, then there are two less avenues of people that the narcissist can communicate with on this planet. When we all do our part, the narcissist has nowhere to go to other than to slither back underneath that rock they came from, and they will have no access whatsoever to somebody like you. But they did know what they were doing. They had a huge advantage, just like that Aesop's fable, the tortoise and the hare. They got cocky, they got arrogant, and they started to count their chickens before they hatched. And guess what? The narcissist loses again. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. Understand something? I'm going to close the video. One, that tortoise and hare Aesop's fable, if you get a chance, look it up. It'll take you about 4 minutes to read, maybe even less. But it's a great analogy of and my twist on it was the narcissistic relationship. It's a great analogy with you and the narcissist, because you were the tortoise, just like I was. And I love turtles, by the way, and I love rabbits. I'm just sharing with you. You were the tortoise because you had a lot of catching up to do. But when you finally caught up, you crossed the finish line. And what is the finish line? You nailed it. It's the pinnacle of indifference. It's the mountaintop of indifference. And that's where I am, and that's where there are so many people that I've helped get there over the years. That's why you need to continue to control what you can control. Focus on yourself, drown out the negativity, maintain your boundaries, and understand that this is your life. This is not a documentary. This is not a horror movie, although you could say it kind of was. This is your life. You need to live an abundant, peaceful, direction-filled life of purpose. And that's why you're authentic, and that's why you're genuine, and that's why the narcissists did their best to take you down for the count. But they failed, and they know it. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.